Okay, so feels like these sort of like the afternoon vlogs that I've started doing. They're kind of more like soapboxes and sort of brainstorming sessions or so. But anyways, today was a relatively chill day at work. Just a handful of tasks, and they didn't put too much pressure on me, so got my stuff done about an hour early, in terms of my leaving time and the time that my day would end. So both during lunch and after all those builds were done, after the whole workload was done, I worked on some problems from some of those in-class problem sets, and I did get an entire problem set done. So right now, on my way home, and the plan is, instead of just going and parking right away, I want to swing by the Walmart, actually get certain things purchased that I've been meaning to get purchased for the last month and a half. Stuff that I know is the kind of stuff that if I do that, I get myself in the right frame of mind. And right now, obviously, I'm trying to turn things around before it's too late. In reality, according to the calculations I've done based off the different weights for the different grading categories, like different types of assignments, I'm sitting right now at about like a B minus, like an 81 or 80%, which is obviously below where I need to be at. But with the fact the majority of the grade is still out there, even with the quiz tomorrow, even if that was out of the way, I still have many solid opportunities to bring my grade up. But it's got to start now. And to that end, I got that problem set done, so I have started it. I would like to get one, maybe two more problem sets done today. There's one of them that's kind of short. It's a couple problems, just two of them, and I get that knocked down. Then maybe I'll feel like I've gotten enough done that I can go and just work on some more of the problems that are from the last 3 weeks. Look over that sort of stuff. It's not like I'm completely unprepared for the quiz tomorrow, but it's just that sort of sense. I don't want to go in there stressing out about what's on the exam, because we got about, I guess it's technically speaking 25 minutes to do the exam, and then he gives us an additional 10 minutes to submit the assignment, and sort of like a timer, I guess, that'll run while we're taking the quiz. I prefer the format he set up so far, where it's sort of like any 35-minute block of time between this hour and this hour, you can get to go take the quiz and go take it. I prefer that to what it was like last time, because it was just kind of like it was almost like pressurized chaos in some sense. I'm not talking about something on the level of being at war or being in a inner city neighborhood, or being attacked by wildlife or something like that out in the boondocks on the sticks, but in the context of college or university, or an exam or a quiz, context of an engineering class, it kind of was, because in some ways we were still figuring things out. He was still figuring things out about format and how to conduct the quiz, because this is all long distance distance learning, as things are right now, a Zoom class, and there people had some shoddy internet issues, and just figuring out how to submit things, and the fact that given that folks were having problems submitting, just getting the assignment in, he gave us some more time, and part of it had to do with the actual submission website, grade scope. Basically, if you didn't get it in between a certain like time bracket, it would just kind of lock you out, and then he had to go back in there and manually tell it, no, I'll let them submit. I'll give them a few more minutes, up to this time or whatever. And on top of that, some of the question stuff was unclear because, and I think I did talk about this last video. It's stuff that's kind of still relevant, so to speak, because I'm having this quiz tomorrow, and so I gotta take my experience from the past into consideration as to how I'm going to go forward with this next one. But there was the fact that it was. I remember now. I could look it up. I have because you have to download it into your laptop and then work on it from there. But it was like one question with parts A, B, C, and D, or A, B, and C, and you couldn't solve parts B and C, as it turned out, without using information from part A. And you couldn't solve part C without using information from part B. And at the same time, the way it was worded, it just sounded like they were all three separate problems, even though, technically speaking, it says A, B, and C. And so you would want to go, okay, I'm hoping this is all connected, and I kind of figured that it was looking at it, because it was just like, okay, I can't solve this unless I assume that this material is the same as the material that's being, tested or whatever in part A, because I need, this, I need this quantity, this value, I guess you could say this number, called the elastic modulus. I need that value in order to solve this equation. But it's not saying that it's the same material, so what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to solve this in terms of that, variable and sort of leave it in that format, or does he want a numerical answer? If he wants a numerical answer, well then, this part doesn't provide that, so what do I do? And it was sort of the last 5 minutes or so, I pretty much, that's when I answered everything, and I somehow got a 60% on the quiz. Give me a 10 out of 15 points. But, still, it was one of those sorts of, if only I'd known that, I would have, I probably would have picked up a couple more points, maybe even, maybe I would have gotten an A on it, maybe I would have gotten an 18 out of, or was it, not 18 out of 20, but, well, that'd be a 13 or 14 out of 15, something like that. Maybe I would have gotten a few more points if I'd known that, but I'm hoping he makes things clearer this time. I get it's supposed to be challenging, but when it's sort of when it's like that, where you have to sort of figure out what exactly he's saying, and then it's okay, I don't feel it's okay, this material is challenging. I feel it's just a sort of it's almost like with the girl, she's sending you you want to call them mixed signals. And, obviously she's expecting you to communicate covertly, but you're wanting her to go and say, this is this or that is that. It almost feels like that to a certain extent. Which is kind of ironic, because this has absolutely nothing to do with romance or, physical attraction. But, yeah, you can find some similar principles there. This desire for, overt communication and, clear directions and all that sort of stuff, when a lot of times the challenge really is figuring out what the heck the other person means, and then acting accordingly. But I said that's just something I'll have to keep in mind tomorrow. I'm gonna make sure that I have everything that I need in place. That's one thing I want to do. Perhaps when I'm at work, would be to print out the slides, assuming I don't get in trouble for it or something, because I know it's company paper, company expenses, but at the same time it's sort of I'll look through how many slides I would need to be printing, and then try to extract some stuff from that, because a lot of the stuff is sort of he has lecture videos, this professor, that go along with those lecture slides. And I mean, I'm sometimes wondering, like, okay, is he expecting you to, like, be having the slides up and having, like, some sort of drawing tool and you write stuff down on there? Or what? Because, like, that's what he does sometimes when he has, like, a video with an example problem or something of that nature. But, that's, possibly one thing I want to do. Fortunately, I don't have a printer at home. If I did, I'd be printing those things out. The campus is closed, so even if I had, cash to spare and all that sort of stuff, I won't have to go through all the logistics of it. You would just be inside that building to begin with, partially because of all those, like, memories I have. But even if I was willing and able to, like, I couldn't because it's closed down. So it's always, like, difficulties or not so much difficulties, but extra logistics. Let's put it that way. Other than that, just put together some notes, solve a few more problems, because I'm thinking like I think there's like 2, maybe 3 in-class activities that are relevant to what we will be tested on, and it's almost like I wouldn't put it past him to pull a problem that'd be very similar to those. I've had professors in the past where they've literally, like, almost word for word pulled a problem out of the textbook that wasn't, it wasn't at the end of the chapter, but it was like an example somewhere between there. And with some folks, they happen to have that page tabbed, so when they, and it was an open book, sort of exam, and they happen to flip to that, page and go, oh wow, here it is, and just like, okay, change up the numbers a bit, and they got, some high grade on it or so. Which can be kind of annoying, because I don't feel that proves that person is really intelligent. I mean, if you have someone like that who's gotten through their coursework that way, and they look like, oh, look, 3.9 GPA, and this guy or gal's really smart, and then you put them in charge of a chemical plant, and they flip the wrong switch or something, and boom, there goes the chemical plant, and you got people being injured or killed, and millions of dollars in damage and all that sort of stuff. But hey, this person had 3.9, they must be really, really smart, in this engineering field or science field or whatever. It's like, there's got to be some other way to, test how much they actually know their practical knowledge. But I think I heard of one girl. I think she actually graduated from my school, which really doesn't do any good for our reputation. But I think she graduated from my school. I don't know exactly, like what year or whatever, but supposedly, it was almost like she, there was some hanky-panky going on, let's just put it that way, and she was able to get her way through the program easy peasy, because, all the hanky-panky that was going on, so to speak. I'm trying to keep it like clean language, but essentially she was using that to get guys to do all this extra work for her and whatnot, and she, breezed on by, graduated, she was able to get a job as an engineer, and she pretty much destroyed, like, I think it was half of a chemical plant or some facility somewhere. She like damaged it significantly. I don't know if she destroyed it in the sense of, like, boom, there it goes, look at that, that explosion over there, look at that fire, that smoke in that direction. No, not necessarily. I don't think it was on that level, but it was enough that, like, they let her go, and she was basically, like, blacklisted. She never working anywhere, because, obviously, like, if you're at a place, especially if it's somewhere like you're only there for like 3 or 4 months and then you get fired, and probably word got out that something had happened at that plant or so. I mean, you gotta explain, like, oh, why aren't you working at this place anymore? If you're gonna go and try to apply at a new place and get hired. And it was like, oh, well, yeah, I was the person who caused that, but don't worry, if you hire me, I won't do that over here. Like, nobody's going to take that chance on you, And, well, not nobody, but if your betting odds are against you, even if you have all these other things that seem to be in your favor, it's going to be against you. But anywho, like I said, I'm on the freeway now, or I'm driving home. But I want to get an actual calendar. I want to get a file folder, because one thing that I'm planning on doing, and this is just I can feel like I'm building up something, and keep things organized and all that. But I'm going to be putting away those problem sets. Once I finish them, staple them together, put them away in there, and keep them on me. And it'd be kind of crazy if I did get all that stuff done, and then I had that with me, and then I go into the quiz, and it's wait a minute, this is just problem 5 of problem set 10, and I go and flip to that, and I scribble out my solution. Maybe the numbers are changed, but it's pretty much the same thing. And then I walk out there with a 100% grade on that. That would really give me a major boost in things, and it'd be a sign that I was turning things around, because I had my one dumb mistake that I'm allowing myself this semester that's cost me almost 4%, which is it's kind of a big deal for just one assignment. If you think, okay, it's gonna drop you almost half a letter grade, and then I had that. I had that quiz score where I was literally right at, I think I was off by 1/10 of a point from the mean of the class, the average. But at the same time, gotta keep reminding myself, I'm not doing this just to get some bachelor's degree. I'm doing this to try and get into graduate school. And obviously, worst case scenario, I'm not completely shut out. There are other campuses I could, try at, but maybe some of them would be better. But I really don't want to have to go through that whole scenario. I don't want to have to go through plan B, C, D. I've already gone through enough of those. So, all that being said, got my plan set, for me, and like I said earlier, I did get a problem set done, so I feel like I got a little bit of momentum. I think a lot of other things are just kind of going in the back burner right now, in part because so much of that other stuff that I've been wanting to go on about, either A, I already have it in motion. I keep working at this place, I keep doing my, due diligence, I keep the money rolling in, I'll pay off my debt, like I said, I've gone back on track, so it's okay, I just gotta keep doing that, and I'll, sign, $1,000, let's say, per paycheck to the current loan that I'm, working on paying off, I'll take care of that, so just, I got that figured out, just keep doing your work, going in, getting stuff done, etc., etc. Don't get distracted by the hot girl that's just across from you. Don't get drawn into some sort of drama or something. Just keep doing your work and making your money. That sort of deal. The diet thing. I know what I have to do. Weight loss thing. I know what I have to do. Luckily, I'm not at a weight. Last time I weighed myself on Saturday, I was 205.4 pounds, which is not good. It's in the overweight category, but I'm not morbidly obese as of yet. I'm not sitting there at 350, 400 pounds or even 300 pounds, and having to go and lose 100 pounds just to get back into the overweight category before I can even get back into healthy weight, or even conceive of or dream of being jacked, getting jacked, getting all those muscles, I'm not that far off from it, but I'm kind of like looking at going, okay, like right now, I gotta get this grade turned around in this class. Like I said before, it's too late. Before the midterm, start that pivot. So by the time the midterm comes around, I'm like rearing and ready to go. I walk in there, I get an A on the exam, and then I get an A on the rest of the quizzes, and I get an A on the rest of the labs, and keep up with the homework and the pre-lecture quizzes and etc. So that I've buffered my grade enough that I won't be missing out on the grade that I need to get, and hence won't be missing out on grad school. Like so much other stuff just depends on that, and if I don't take care of that, like, it's not gonna really matter. And it's not about getting the girls. I know, like, I've oftentimes thought, like, I gotta be like this, I gotta be this ideal husband type guy with the a 6-figure income and a nice house and car and all that kind of stuff, and like, no. So much of it is about the fact that, like, you see, like, I have to think about money and finances, and I have to think about education and my career, because that is how I, let's say, access resources. Excuse me. I could be in the greatest shape ever, and yeah, there are guys out there who become male models and all that sort of stuff, but, like, reality is, the way I continue to survive, the way I continue to prosper, it comes from all these other things. You don't go and get your money right, get your finances right, get your credit right, get yourself out of debt, build that wealth for the sake of some woman. Because truth is, like, they don't need you. You need the money. They don't need you to get the money. You need your finances, you need your career, your job, even just to have purpose, just to have that sort of sense of, like, here's why I'm here. They don't need that. And this is why, like, so many things that we might consider to be so important, and it's the stuff that should give us value as guys. At first it's kind of depressing and frustrating for a lot of us to think that, all these things that you go and you build yourself up for, that, it doesn't really set you apart. It really doesn't make you much in their eyes. Because they can, in many ways, they can just go and trade you out, trade up for another guy who either makes more money or makes the same amount, but he also has all these, features they want in a guy, and yada yada. And they're perfectly fine doing that. And it just kind of is how it is. But at the same time, it's sort of like, this is why I have to take care of these things. I have to be concerned about this sort of stuff, focused in on it, because sustenance, being provided for, having an income, having access to resources, the ability to survive and thrive, that's not a guarantee for me. It's really not a guarantee. It's something I have to work for. So, I'm going to exit, and with the help of somebody that lets me in, I need to get like a couple lanes over. No, he's not going to let me. Jesus, for fuck's sake. I thought he was going to let me in, but this stuff is really annoying, because it's just like, you think that they're going to, and then they just sort of like speed up at the last second until you almost like dip into the lane, and they're like, what the F, bro? Okay, Same guy. Okay, cool. Thank you. Appreciate it. Didn't have to get stuck in the traffic. Okay, one more lane, and we're in the exit. Whew. Thank you. Whew. But let's see. Somebody hit somebody? For a second there, it kind of looked like the way they were kind of angled, that it looked like somebody had gotten hit. And they all sort of, got into like a 3-car pileup or something. But at the same time, get back, what I was talking about. At the same time, like, they can be depressing or frustrating. I think it almost like gives you more power in some sense, or it can give you more power, insofar as like you don't have to go and like, or you're not expected to get with someone to have access to that. You can just go create that on your own. So it's less something to complain about, and more something to make something of. So, and as I think about this topic, man, that girl at work, and I thought she came in today with like a ring on one of her fingers, and I'm thinking like, what happened over the weekend? What happened, But it's like last week she was like super talkative with me. We were on some builds together, albeit so it was kind of like, in that context, it's like you kind of have to a certain extent. Like you gotta have a good rapport with your coworkers, but it was like super flirty and all this stuff, and then like this week we're not working together, and she kind of seems distant. And I thought she had a ring on her finger. I'm like, wait a minute, she get engaged over the weekend? What happened? And then of course I see her like talking with the other dude sitting in the lab. I'm thinking like, wait, are they gonna build together? What's going on? And then sort of like that sort of stuff starts up again. And I had to sort of tell myself like, bro, like, your least concern, or it's the least of your problems, or the smallest of your problems, or whatever, is whether or not that hot girl at work is like into you, or if she's with this other guy, or like that one video I made that about like romantic workplace garbage or whatever, drama or whatever, and I thought that they were like together, and like now I'm just kind of like, I don't know, I don't think that guy likes girls, which is cool. If that's what he likes, and it's what he likes, I don't know. All these, indicators are there, but then again, I could be completely wrong. The world is a topsy-turvy place, and not a lot of things make sense to me anymore. Probably showing my age, being in my 30s, and thinking like, darn kids, get off my lawn. Like this stuff doesn't make sense to me. It's probably my age, where I was born and grew up, and when I grew up and all that. But seeing that sort of stuff, and just she's really she's really attractive. Let's just put it that way. I don't think she's a unicorn by any stretch of the imagination. The whole deal with saying that no woman is a unicorn, or all women are like that, is not that all women will be like this or will be like that, but they can surprise you. Basically, you think a girl's a certain way, you think she's either the quote-unquote good girl or the quote-unquote bad girl, and then she like surprises you by showing that she's not actually like that for whatever reason, because maybe in the context you're in, it's not it doesn't appeal to her needs at that point to be one way or the other, or her desires to be one way or the other. She can surprise you basically. So I don't think this girl's a unicorn, but she is really attractive, and she's actually like, I don't know, a level or two above the quote-unquote one-itis girl, which is interesting thing thing to think, because, it's like back when I was obsessing about that girl, I mean, whether it was on this channel or I was talking to my folks or I was just thinking to myself, like, oh, I'll never find some girl who's, this good looking or has this kind of background and personality or blah, blah, blah. And I was just kind of like chuckling to myself a bit, today, because when I was on my own, finishing off some stuff, like delivering some items that we built, but I was, thinking to myself, like, and man, I thought, there are no other girls like out there like this, that blah, blah, blah. It's this one girl, and if I don't get her, blah, 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 insert depressing ending of existence or life or end state. Not death, really not. I'm not talking about death or dying, but like, growing old alone and never find a girl like this who could ever possibly yada yada, to make me feel, love again or whatever. And here I am, like, working at this place, and it's sort of like, when she's around, when we're chatting it up, when we're chopping it up, working on something, like, the quote-unquote one-itis girl or the ex-girlfriend, like, they're it's like they don't even exist. They don't exist. They never existed. Yeah, it sucked what I went through, blah, 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 but I'm not, like, feeling that then. I'm, like, into this girl, in that moment, It's kind of like, huh, really? I mean, because, like, she has very much that look that the one-itis girl had, but she's way more attractive. Like, just, obvious reasons I don't need to discuss. It's we're all men here. Maybe not. Maybe we're not. Maybe we're not. Maybe we don't have all the same tastes or so. But I don't think I really need to describe what I mean when I say that she's way more attractive than the one-itis girl. Even in terms of like personality, like that girl seemed to carry a sort of darkness within her that would manifest in like really not just like edgy or smarmy comments, but just the whole sort of like reveling in self-destruction or being open to self-destruction, whether it was vis-a-vis substance abuse or promiscuity or that sort of thing. And I've never really heard this girl talk like that, which I'm not saying that she's not capable of it or that she didn't have her wild years or whatever, but she doesn't even like talk in the sense of like, oh, I was so crazy in college, she's never, I mean, which isn't to say that she couldn't have possibly been. I mean, you never know, but even all that being said, I think the point of that whole, set of experiences or like, observation was that like, it's not that there aren't girls out there who aren't worth your time or aren't great girls or attractive or desirable or, banging, as they would say in San Diego. I think it might be a San Diego term. Banging. I don't know. Is that a Southern California thing? I don't know, but attractive, desirable, drop dead gorgeous, bombshells, whatever. It's not that there aren't girls like that, but the fact is that there are enough of them out there, some better than others, some more compatible with you than others, such that none of them is really worth getting so bent out of shape about. And I would say in my defense, so much of the problem with the one-itis girl wasn't her. It was sort of the environment we were in, where there were so many of these, like, what I would call, like, beta orbiters who saw her as that sort of dream girl, even more than I did. I mean, there was a part of me that kind of, like, saw through it all, but then there was the part of me that didn't, and it was sort of, like, internal conflict that went on during that time. But with those other guys, I mean, they saw her as a dream engineering girlfriend. Oh, she's she's hot, she's fun, and she's smart, and she's into engineering and yada yada. And it's like, oh, if I could only get a girl like that. There is no other girl like that. They want to like practically fight hand, tooth, and nail over her. Especially the guy who was the quote-unquote director of that chemical engineering organization. That guy was, I mean, you want to use the term simp? Like, my God. Way worse even than myself, which is really saying something, as I was back then. But, yeah, it's just sort of interesting and enlightening observation I think I had that has me in better spirits, I think. Even if it turns out that those two are dating, or that she gets engaged to some other guy, just the whole, hey, I can actually like find a girl who has all these, features that checks off all these boxes. Yeah, she might not be perfect, but very much like what I did like about the one-itis girl, but without without all the baggage and BS basically. There's that possibility out there, and it does happen. So, anyways, like I said, gotta get over to Walmart. I'm heading over there right now. Actually, I made it a point since I was making this video and talking about that. Okay, I'm gonna make this turn and go there. But yeah, it's been a long enough video. Been yammering on for long enough. I just need to finish this up, get to Walmart, get the stuff I need to get home, and knock those problems out. So I will see you folks around. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. Bye-bye.